Welcome to the Glitch Report, your daily marketing botcast. Brought to you by Leadpages. Here are our hosts, Kai and Luna.
Today we're looking at some pretty huge marketing news that just dropped. We're talking about those Cyber Monday sales figures that everyone's buzzing about, and kind of what that all means for TikTok, and maybe even more interestingly, how brands are trying to win over Gen Alpha.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time to be paying attention to marketing and retail, for sure.
So, ready to dive in?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, so first up, Cyber Monday. Just huge numbers, right?
Yeah.
Over $13 billion spent online.
Wow.
It's up 7.3% from last year. It's a new record.
It's amazing.
And this comes right on the heels of Black Friday.
Right.
Which also saw record-breaking sales. So I think a lot of people are wondering, in a time where we're hearing a lot about inflation and people maybe tightening their belts a little bit, what's driving this kind of shopping spree?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And honestly, I think it's a confluence of a few different things. So for starters, the discounts were even bigger than a lot of people were anticipating.
Interesting.
So, when you see a big ticket item that you've maybe had your eye on, and all of a sudden the price drops significantly, it becomes a lot more tempting, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I think the other thing that's really playing into this is the rise of buy now, pay later, BNPL, as they call it.
BNPL.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes it easier to kind of spread out the cost.
Yeah.
Especially for younger generations who maybe don't have the same level of savings as older shoppers do.
Yeah. Okay. So BNPL, deeper discounts, making it easier to hit that purchase button.
Exactly.
What were people buying?
Well, it probably won't surprise you to hear that electronics were king. Yeah, I mean, over $30 billion over the entire weekend was spent on electronics.
Gee.
Apparel and furniture were also big winners.
Okay.
But I think what's really interesting to kind of look at here is the role that TikTok played in all of this.
TikTok. Yeah. I have to admit, I still think of it as
I know.
Mostly dance trends and funny videos.
Right. And to be fair, there's a lot of that on there.
Yeah.
But that perception, I think, is really changing fast.
Really?
I mean, TikTok's influence on e-commerce, it's just undeniable at this point.
Wow.
It tripled its sales year over year.
Wow.
And hit $100 million on Black Friday alone.
So it's not just entertainment, it's shopping.
It's shopping.
How did TikTok become this shopping powerhouse?
I think a big part of it is their algorithm.
Right.
It's just incredibly sophisticated.
Okay.
It's designed to keep you scrolling, keep you engaged, and it's really good at surfacing content that it thinks you're going to be interested in.
Yeah.
And so what that means for brands is they can really target very specific audiences.
Oh, interesting.
And get their products in front of the people who are most likely to be interested in them.
Okay, so if I'm seeing products that I actually like or I'm curious about.
Right.
Then I'm more likely to click and buy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then there's the format of TikTok itself.
Oh, yeah.
These short, really engaging videos are just perfect for showcasing products and grabbing people's attention, in such a crowded online world.
Right.
And of course, I mean, we can't talk about TikTok without talking about influencer marketing.
Of course not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, people see their favorite creators recommending products. They want to try them too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a huge shift, I think, from the kind of traditional marketing that we've seen in the past.
Speaking of shifts, let's talk about Gen Alpha.
Okay.
This is the generation that's born after 2010.
Right.
I mean, they're digital natives.
Right. They've grown up.
They've grown up with smartphones.
Yeah, and social media. As a just core part of their lives, yeah. And I think that really shapes their worldview and their relationship with brands in a way that we've never seen before.
I mean, it's crazy to think that these kids have never known a world without the internet.
Right.
Or smartphones.
It's just completely normal to them.
How does that even affect their preferences when it comes to brands?
Well, that's the really interesting thing.
Yeah.
They're not just interested in traditional kid brands.
Oh, wow.
Right. They're looking up to the brands and the influencers that they see online.
Okay.
Which, very often those are targeted towards adults.
Yeah.
And so you suddenly have 12-year-olds wanting high-end skincare products, Drunk Elephant,
Wow.
because they've seen it featured in their favorite influencers video.
So it's really blurring the lines between traditional age demographics.
It really is.
How are companies even responding to this?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
I think you see some companies that are really focusing on product safety for younger users, recognizing that their products are now reaching this audience that they didn't necessarily anticipate.
Sure.
And then other companies are addressing kind of this trend of kids wanting to appear older.
Yep.
And they're doing that through campaigns that promote self-esteem and age-appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
It's a real balancing act, for sure.
It really is. And then there's this whole other trend of brands partnering with young influencers to tap into this generation.
Totally.
I mean, you see teens like Evelyn Unroe, she's 13.
Yeah.
She goes by Evelyn GRWM online. She's working with major beauty brands.
Yeah.
Even first graders like Ayla Palmer
It's amazing.
are collaborating with fashion brands.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And I think it really speaks to the power that this generation has.
Yeah.
They're tastemakers, and brands recognize their influence.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so what we're seeing, I think, is this convergence of these trends.
So record-breaking sales driven by, those deep discounts, the rise of BNPL, TikTok emerging as this major force in e-commerce.
Absolutely.
And then Gen Alpha really, I think, changing the entire marketing landscape.
Yeah, I mean, and it really begs the question, what happens next? As Gen Alpha continues to mature and their purchasing power increases, how are they going to reshape the future of marketing?
That's a good question.
Are we going to see traditional age demographics become even more irrelevant?
Interesting.
Are we going to see this complete merging of adult and youth-oriented brands?
Yeah.
It's definitely something to watch closely.
Something to watch closely, that's for sure. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Really interesting to explore these trends with you.
Likewise.
Thanks, everyone.